Hello everybody and welcome back to Vitally Veg. On today's episode, we are going to be making a super comforting and super heartwarming vegan skillet-style chicken pot pie. This recipe is perfect for feeding a crowd, and it may be a little bit time consuming, but the end result is well worth it. Let's get started. Alright, first I have a large mixing bowl. I'm just going to add 2.5 cups of unbleached organic all-purpose flour to, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a pinch of sugar, 1/4 cup of cold vegan shortening that's been cubed, and 3/4 cup of vegan butter that's also cold and preferably has been cubed. Once you've got that in the flour there, go ahead and just mix that with a fork or using a pastry cutter, cut in the butter until it looks like peas. It should look like that, nice and crumbly. Little chunks of butter. That way we can get nice fluffy layers. After that, create a well in the center and add 2 tablespoons of ice cold water at a time, but you want to add between 1/4 cup and 1/2 cup of ice cold water. Add little at a time just so then your dough comes together just like this, where it's still tacky and sticky. You don't want to add too much water and you don't want it too dry. So once it looks like that, go ahead and cover it with plastic wrap and refrigerate it for at least 30 minutes. Alright, while that's chilling, I'm going to make my filling. So I have a medium yellow onion, 3 stalks of celery, 3 medium-sized Yukon Gold potatoes, and about 3 cloves of garlic. I'm just going to peel and dice the potatoes finely and dice everything like so. After that, I have a 12-inch cast iron skillet. You'll want an extra large one here. I'm going to add 1/4 cup of butter to and heat on medium. Just going to melt that down. Once that starts to bubble, I'm going to go ahead and add my chopped veggies. After that, I am going to add 1.5 cups of frozen pea and carrot mix. And then I'm going to add about 8 ounces of vegan chicken. I'm using the Mindful Chicken by Sweet Earth. You can use whatever you'd like, or you could even use white beans instead. We're still heating this on medium. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of poultry seasoning, which has no poultry in it, just so you know. Then I'm going to add salt and freshly ground black pepper to taste. Alright, I'm going to mix that seasoning in as well as I can. And since we've been heating this for a bit now, the onions should be translucent, which means they're partially cooked. So I'm going to add 1/4 cup of flour and just toss everything so that it's coated really well in the flour and that there's no chunks of flour left. After that, I'm going to add 1 cup of vegan chickenless broth. This is where all the flavor comes in. And I'm going to add 1.5 cups of vegan non-dairy milk that is unsweetened. And still on medium, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 to 3 bay leaves and reduce this to a simmer until it is nice and thick like that, which should take about 5 to 10 minutes. Make sure you're stirring in that 5 to 10 minutes too. Don't worry, it'll thicken. After that, cool in the skillet and refrigerate it for at least 30 minutes so that the pie crust doesn't melt. Once that's done, preheat your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that the crust is cooled for at least 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and lightly flour a clean surface. And I'm just going to turn out that crust onto that. We're going to go ahead and roll this out really wide until it's about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch thick, which is about the size of 2 quarters stacked on top of each other. So I've got a nice big pie crust there. Needed my husband to help me lift it onto the skillet. So if you have someone in your house that can help you, definitely use that. Just going to set that on top like so. And then we're just going to rustically tuck the crust corners in like this. Doesn't have to be beautiful. It'll turn out beautiful in the end because of the homemade love that you put into it. Alright, once my crust is formed, I'm going to go ahead and add 3 vent holes onto the top. So just using a sharp knife, go across like that, just so we can release the steam while we're baking. Alright, after that she's ready to bake. So bake that for 40 to 60 minutes or until the top is golden brown and the filling is set. And let that cool for at least 30 minutes, then serve it hot and enjoy! Alright you guys, that was my vegan skillet style chicken pot pie. If you like this recipe, don't forget to like and subscribe below and check out vitallyveg.com for more recipes. I'll see you guys next time.